Right.
In regards to the text, an interesting experience. I had neighbors that came to one of the performances. They're very active in one of the churches in Oak Park. And the husband said to me, that text was not written by lay people. That text had to come from the clergy.
Yeah. Let's talk about the word. We've talked about the music and the setting that we reacted to these words, but David, talk about you as a pastor thinking about the washing of the feet, and how did you come up with Rub-a-Dub-Dub?
They're very familiar texts, and in many ways they're very staid. Some traditions you don't only want to hear it in the King James versions. Others will do more modern versions. As I thought through what we've done with jazz and what I knew about it, and certainly what all of you taught me about it, I thought I have to come at this with somewhat of a reverent disrespect. Want to be careful because I don't want to get in trouble with the boss, but kind of a reverent disrespect. And so I looked at these things and said, how would you just off the top of your head talk about some of this stuff? Jesus is washing his feet. Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. And the cock crowed thrice. Well, yeah, that's nice, but again, it's so. The cock crowed thrice. Cock-a-doodle-doo. So it was that kind of thing to give it a flavor and the feeling that then could be interpreted in a jazz form and not inhibited by very formal language.
So, lightening things up a little bit in a few cases.
And playing with it. So there's a certain playfulness with the text, hopefully not a disrespect for it, but hopefully to turn it so there's a little different lens for people to view the Passion.
You could call that improvisation
Yeah,
on a textual level.
absolutely.
Why not?
Absolutely.
And yet your vocabulary runs the whole gamut from very traditional to contemporary. For example, there's a piece that I said called Take Him in Charge. And nobody talks like that anymore, but I knew what you meant. And it was perfect because it is this very confrontational situation. And so you have that sense of military or police, that kind of sense of what's going on. An arrest is taking place. So it was a wonderful, exciting journey to see those different words popping up in different pieces as we went along.
Well, there was a few I had to change when Jesus was in the garden in Gethsemane, thinking about his crucifixion, and he's mad, and he's saying some pretty bad words that you wrote. If there's kids in the audience, I don't think I better use that particular thing. So I just changed it a little bit, but with your permission.
We talked about that, and I again there was a couple places in there where I thought, well, this will be a little shocking, but you were got me out of trouble, for which I'm grateful.
You sure shocked me.
Well, to be clear, these are biblical bad words.
Yes.
Not vernacular,
No.
street words. David, you talked about some stories that you picked, but you also have a bookend on each end of this piece, text-wise. There's the Passion story at the beginning, and there's For Me, For You, and For All at the end. Any thoughts on what those two were expressing to the people in the audience?
My concern was if we do this, that like the Jazz Nativity, it have a wide audience, and that it would not necessarily be perceived as only for a member of a Christian denomination or who had that leaning. That this would be accessible to anyone who wanted to hear a good story. And so the notion at the beginning that it's a passion story for you, for me, and for us all was to try and draw everybody in.
Yep.
And then at the end talk about, and what puts us together, the greatest connection through Christ's resurrection. That makes it a little more theologically grounded. But the idea was that it could appeal to everyone, regardless of what necessarily your faith tradition might be, and be accessible without being totally limited to someone who only understands Christianity. So, you talked about the 12 disciples. The 12 tribes of Israel. We can put a lot of things in
there's a
there
lot of
to
12s,
pick
yeah.
everybody, keep everybody happy. So that was part of the bookending of this. And also to avoid any kind of criticism that, we really are just playing around with the words and don't have a powerful story to tell. That also does have an unabashed Christian message.
Hallelujah.